You like to think about things. You have opinions.
Is that a compliment or an accusation? He's got you there, Yelgren.
Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another Star Trek video. Females and finances don't mix, not if Moogie has anything to say about it.
Moogie!
Now, DS9 had a great cast of recurring characters who were not only interesting in their own right, but helped expand the Star Trek universe. And among them was Quark and Rom's mother, Ishka, affectionately known as Moogie.
This is between Moogie, mother, and me.
While she wasn't the first Ferengi female on Star Trek, that was Pel in the previous season, she represented a shift in Ferengi society that would be seen later in the show. Specifically, she worked for the right for Ferengi females to earn profit.
How much did you make, Moogie?
3 bars of gold pressed latinum.
In her unconventional ways of being outspoken and wearing clothes,
Mother, get undressed this instant.
she proved that she was just as capable as any male of making profit. But did you know that underneath those prosthetics, 2 different women played the indomitable Moogie? That, in fact, the role was originally played by Andrea Martin in the Season 3 episode Family Business, but would be played by Cecily Adams for the rest of the show? Well, spin the Tongo wheel and acquire some profit, because today we're going to look at the 2 ladies who played Ishka, mother of Quark and Rom.
Moogie.
Oh, it's good to see you, son.
But before I go further, thanks for checking out my video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more of my Star Trek, video game, and other miscellaneous content. Keep those hailing frequencies open on the other social media sites, and a big thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel. If you'd like to buy me a cup of tea and support my work, consider joining up on my channel. Be great to have you aboard. Now, the Ferengi came a long way from what they were in TNG. Intended to be menacing villains, ended up becoming a joke. But DS9 expanded the Ferengi into a developed culture that, while still keeping their comedic edge, was 3-dimensional. For all their scheming and plotting, they had a set of rules that they lived by in the rules of acquisition, and their goal in life was to make profit. For the males, at least. You see, Ferengi females were not allowed to earn profit or even leave the house or wear clothes.
Mother, get undressed this instant.
But Ishka was a way to subvert some of the Ferengi's more sexist attitudes while being true to the civilization that it was established to be, which was the idea behind the character in her first episode, Family Business.
It's time someone put her in her place.
Have anyone in mind for the job?
But who do we cast as this leading Ferengi female? Well, it was a tough choice. One idea floated by producer David Livingston was for Grand Nagus Zek himself, Wallace Shawn, to play Ishka. Yep, this was long before profit and lace was even a thought in anyone's mind. You know, happier times.
Inconceivable!
Well, apparently everyone agreed with that because the idea was shot down pretty quickly. Not to mention, those love scenes would have gotten really weird. However, resident changeling Renee Auberjonois was directing the episode and suggested comedienne Andrea Martin, believing she could strike a perfect balance of comedy and good acting. Andrea Martin, with acting credits that go as far back as the late 60s, has been seen on the stage, the movies, and television, even having a fair amount of voice work in her repertoire. Though mostly known for her stage work, she's been in movies like My Big Fat Greek Wedding and its sequel, TV shows like the sketch show CSTV, and has worked on various cartoon shows and movies in the 80s and 90s. Additionally, fans of Star Trek might recognize her from the Carol Burnett Star Trek skit as a female Spock after the Enterprise crew gets their sexes switched.
Just all too much. I can't stand this constant bickering.
It's hilarious. Go check out the full skit.
Did you see what she was wearing?
But as far as casting Andrea Martin as Ishka goes, Renee Auberjonois made an excellent choice casting someone who could both act well and do comedy.
I know all about your little financial empire.
It's not so little.
Then you admit it.
Her Ishka has a lot of heart and earnestness, but still delivers a fun performance. She takes pride in her ability to earn profit and delivers her lines with a certain knowing humor as she's bucking the establishment. At the same time, she conveys a sadness in her scenes with Quark when he simply doesn't get it.
Please, imprint the confession.
I can't. I wish you could understand.
But then also has some really heartwarming moments when they come to an understanding at the end for a feel-good family moment. It represents what DS9 did best with the Ferengi: expansion of the culture, maintaining the humor, and having a lot of heart for some top-tier Star Trek.
I certainly hope you've learned your lesson.
And what would that be?
She's speaking to me again.
And with the success of Ishka, everybody's favorite Moogie, the writers got to work on bringing her back for another episode, which would come in Season 5 with Ferengi love songs. But as hard as it was to cast Andrea Martin as Ishka, she could not reprise her role. There are different stories behind why she didn't return. Both Rene Auberjonois and executive producer Ira Steven Behr said something came up last minute which caused her to drop out, while other sources say that the prosthetics and makeup process were too much and she didn't want to have to deal with it again. Which honestly, I could buy either story. Rene Auberjonois did warn her about how intense the makeup process was, and I wouldn't blame her if she didn't want to go through it again. It's not seen in other episodes, but Andrea Martin had to wear shoulder and knee prosthetics because Ferengi females aren't allowed to wear clothes, and Rom was still adjusting to her new attitude.
Mother, get undressed this instant.
Plus, it wouldn't be the first story in Star Trek production of an actor being overwhelmed by the prosthetics. So the casting process began once again, only now it was even tougher since they wanted a similar take on the character. However, Cecily Adams was cast in the role for the rest of the series, being described as a natural mimic. Not only was Cecily Adams a good friend of Kitty Swink, wife of Quark actor Armin Shimmerman, but she was also the daughter of Don Adams, Maxwell Smart from the 60s sitcom Get Smart, and was familiar with TV production. And interestingly enough, she was 9 years younger than her on-screen son. While she took some acting roles on TV, she mainly worked behind the scenes as a casting director for such projects as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Third Rock from the Sun, and That 70s Show, as well as having some experience with improvisation and being an acting coach. Cecily Adams really stepped outside her comfort zone with the role of Ishka, having never played an alien before and only seeing a couple of episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Voyager. However, Armin Shimmerman lent her a tape of Family Business, and she was able to achieve a close approximation to Andrea Martin's Ishka. Heck, she did it so well that I didn't even realize there were two different actresses who played Ishka. She slipped into the role seamlessly, and even the costume and prosthetics. Now, one of the things I noticed with Cecily Adams' Ishka is how the comedy is played up in her episodes.
Now let's see if you're a changeling.
Family Business was more of a serious Ferengi episode, though not without comedy. But the rest of Ishka's appearances were more comedic in nature. How she's secretly dating Grand Nagus Zek, how she's captured by the Dominion and Quark assembles a team of Ferengi to rescue her. Quark's a woman now. And then she was in Dogs of War, which was a serious episode, but her role was pretty small because, I swear, there were like 5 subplots going on in that episode. She had comedic line delivery, she had physical comedy, even comedic body language. But at the same time, she has more serious moments, like the moment she's crying after Zek broke up with her in Ferengi love songs. Sure, there are comedic lines in that scene.
That I was a scheming, profit-hungry female who couldn't keep her clothes off.
But then she comes to the realization that the Ferengi Alliance is in danger because she's not there to help Zek, who has been losing it recently.
I may have lost my memory, but not my sense of humor!
She was capable of more serious moments, but admittedly, there aren't as many of those moments with her Ishka. Her Ishka is more of a comedic take on the character, but that's alright because her comedy works really well.
Do you have any idea how much these are worth?
Not as much as if you'd kept them in the original packaging.
Now, both Andrea Martin's and Cecily Adams' Ishkas are very similar. Again, so much so that you might not have even realized that there were two different actresses playing her. Both are excellent, and the differences are subtle, but I must confess that I do have a slight preference for Andrea Martin's for that blending of humor and heart. Don't get me wrong, Cecily Adams is great in the role, and The Magnificent Ferengi is one of my top DS9 episodes. But it's Andrea Martin's feel-good performance where you can tell she loves both her sons, even though she's constantly at odds with Quark, that's such a joy to watch. She has her principles, and she's genuinely hurt that Quark doesn't understand. At the same time, she recognizes that Quark is a lot like her. You just don't see that in episodes like Prophet and Lace, where Quark and Ishka can't seem to stand each other.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance!
Maybe I am! And you, I suppose, are a lot like me.
I never knew you felt like that.
Though to be fair, Prophet and Lace isn't exactly a metric to measure anything. But to be honest, between the two Moogies, it's a very close call, and Cecily Adams, though not the first Ishka, was able to slip into the role and make it her own while remaining true to the foundation started by Andrea Martin.
You sure the FCA won't find the rest?
I've got it hidden so well, I'll be lucky if I can find it.
So what about you? What did you think of the two Moogies? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Did you realize that Ishka was played by two different actresses? Which do you prefer, Andrea Martin's or Cecily Adams' Ishka? Or are they so similar that it really doesn't matter? And what's your favorite Moogie episode? Please leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another Star Trek video. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
Now let's see if you're a changeling.